Welcome to Meet the Candidates with Brian Tyler Cohen, our host. Brian Tyler Cohen is among the most watched progressive political commentators on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. He also hosts one of the top-ranked political podcasts in the U.S., No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, with recent guests including Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, Pete Buttigieg, Jamie Raskin, and the amazing Katie Porter, who will join us live later tonight. And now that Field Team 6 has introduced Brian, here's Brian to introduce Field Team 6.
So you remember that Batman movie where the supervillain does something horrible and Batman gets super depressed and gives up? Or how about in Black Panther where he gets so exasperated that he re-ups his Netflix subscription and spends the next 6 months on the couch? Yeah, me neither. What I'm trying to say is that heroes don't give up. And that's why I have to tell you about an organization called Field Team 6. They are a volunteer army on a simple mission that I think will resonate with a lot of people. Register Democrats, save the world. Since they started in 2019, they have helped register millions of Democrats to vote in swing states. These were the voters who helped eject Trump from the White House and who gave Democrats control of the Senate. And right now, Field Team 6 is working on registering enough Democrats to expand our Senate majority, hold on to the House, and once again save our democracy itself in November's midterms. Field Team 6 registers Democrats every way possible, with in-person voter drives and digitally, with phone calls and text banks, ads and emails, with over 500,000 postcards in 1 year and social media storms that have generated hundreds of millions of impressions. And they're pioneering new ways to register Democrats all the time, and that's because they don't give up. I've seen enough movies to know that when things are darkest, when all hope seems gone, this isn't the end of the story. It's the end of Act 2. Right now is when we write Act 3. So please, go donate, volunteer, or do both at fieldteam6.org because you control the end of this story.
Please welcome your host for the evening, Brian Tyler Cohen.
Thank you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Meet the Candidates. I'm Brian Tyler Cohen. I host daily breaking news videos on my YouTube channel, and I also host a podcast called No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen. But tonight, I'm so proud to be here hosting this event. As you know, Field Team 6 mission is to register Democrats, specifically in swing states and districts. Why? Because it's so those new Democrats who can turn out to elect candidates who will save the Senate, save the House, and to save democracy in November. Tonight, we get to meet those candidates. Because we have so many amazing candidates here tonight, we're going to ask that each one limit their comments to 3 minutes. And now let's get a quick intro to Field Team 6's founder, Jason Berlin, who will also obey that 3-minute rule. Jason?
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. 133 people. Was 133? Someone left. Come on back. This is an amazing crowd. I'm so happy that you're all here tonight. And I'm Jason Berlin, founder of Field Team 6. Our mission is Registered Democrats Save the World. We do proudly partisan voter registration in person and digitally using our one-of-a-kind database of 12 million unregistered people who are likely Democrats in swing states and districts across the country. We don't just register voters, we preach voter registration. And we're here to help turn that into a movement. So whether you came here, whether you got involved because the Supreme Court took away our right to safe and legal abortion, or because of the never-ending gun violence, or because of the targeting of LGBTQ plus rights across the country, or because you saw the January 6th hearings and realized the deep criminal conspiracy behind the attack on our country, there is a simple solution to these complex problems, and that is registering more new Democrats to vote, especially in swing states where just a few votes can swing elections that affect the entire country. And the Democrats that we register, of course, we're registering them to elect Democratic candidates. You, our volunteers, have been wildly successful in this, helping register over 1.5 million new Democratic voters since 2019. That is huge. That's insane. And with your help, we can absolutely save the Senate majority, save the House majority, and save the democracy itself in November. Tonight, we're meeting some of the incredibly talented, brilliant, inspiring public servants who have stepped up to lead in one of America's greatest moments of need. So I want to thank all of them. And I want to thank all of the volunteers across the country who are working so hard to get all of them elected. Let's do this. All right, back to you, Brian.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you. 1.5 million registered voters is music to my ears. Okay, with that said, time to hear from the candidates. So to kick things off, let's go to the great state of North Carolina and meet Jeff Jackson, someone who can help save our majority in the House. After 9/11, Jeff enlisted, he served in Afghanistan, and to this day, he continues his service as a major in the Army National Guard. But that's far from the only way that he's served. In 2014, Jeff became the second youngest senator in the state Senate, where he helped lead the fight against gerrymandering. He supported early childhood education. He repeatedly called for raising teacher pay and expanding Medicaid. He passed reforms for our criminal justice system and called out corruption where he saw it. Now he's running to serve as U.S. Representative for North Carolina's 11th district. So please welcome a friend of Field Team 6, Jeff Jackson.
Good to see you. Good to see you, Field Team 6. So good to be here with so many people I follow on Twitter. That's always nice. And I see we got 139 people here with us. I think some of you are in the same position that I was in the first time I met with Field Team 6, which was maybe 8 or 9 months ago, in that I had never heard of them. I had no idea what they were. My campaign manager signed me up for this event. He gave me no background at all. And he's like, this is what you're doing from 6 to 7. And I said, okay, sure. And so I opened up my laptop the same way you are. And I listened in for 5 minutes. I'm trying to think, like, they're going to ask me to speak. I've got to figure out, like, is this a legit group? What is this, a weird group? Do I have to distance myself? Is this whole thing a mistake? And it became very clear after 5 minutes. And I heard from Jason and I heard roughly the same things that you all heard. This group is completely legit. And I've since then gotten to know these folks. I've read some of the things that they put out. The statistics are really impressive from the standpoint of what they can accomplish per dollar raised. I've been in the state Senate for the last 8 years in North Carolina. It's been my job to try and win races as inexpensively as possible, because I'm in the state legislature, right? So we don't get national money. We don't get any love from any of these big groups or anything. You got to make dollars stretch. What they can do with their budget is remarkable. It's something that we really have difficulty replicating in state. What they've basically done as a group is found a way to execute on a good idea, but a common idea, an idea that so many municipalities and localities have. They say, we're a blue dot. How do we export our political influence? It's an easy idea, but it's so hard to operationalize. It's really hard to execute on. There are a handful of groups that have figured out a way to do this consistently, cost effectively. This is one. So I'm going to be hopefully part of, with their North Carolina focus. They've got 7 states that they've picked because of what they call the triple word score value, and that it's got up ballot and down ballot value. My district is winnable in and of itself. Then we have a state Senate district within it that's going to be one of the most competitive. And then above me is Sherry Beasley running for U.S. Senator in North Carolina. We're all on Team Beasley, and she's going to need every vote she can get out of Charlotte, which is where we are. This is a classic example of one of those triple word score values, which is a testament to how these people think about the value proposition of every dollar that they have and their overall mission and how they're going to execute on it. So look, if you're here for the first time, like I was a few months ago, and you're trying to suss out, are these folks real? Is this a good place for your time, energy, and money? Y'all, trust me, I would not, they ain't paying me nothing to be here. Okay. They just invited me, and I'm doing that. I got 2 kids waiting to have dinner back there. I said, hold on, I got to go talk to Field Team 6. Y'all, this is for real. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you so much to Jeff. And by the way, I completely echo everything he said. I was in the same boat where I have to try to figure out whether one group is good, is legit. It does not get better than this one right here. So with that said, remember that name, Jeff Jackson, because he is a superstar. And while this evening is about meeting the candidates, it is also a chance for all of us to meet some of the activist heroes on the front lines, the people who are registering Democrats who will elect these great candidates. So let's meet one of Field Team 6's most effective leaders. She's a force of nature. At Field Team 6, she not only leads phone banks and spearheads donation drives, she's also the czar of in-person voter registration, Gina Harris.
Well, some people ask me, why Field Team 6? I mean, it's such a weird name. And I say, well, give me a list of the organizations that register Democrats. And they pause and they look around and they say, gee, I can't think of any. And I say, bingo! My name is Gina Harris, and I live in San Francisco, California, right by the Golden Gate Bridge. I'm a singer-songwriter and vocal coach.
The magic of ordinary things.
And with my cohort in crime, Mervis Rysick, we train people how to go out in person and register people in Georgia, in Florida, and in Wisconsin. Now, I believe in text banking and I believe in phone banking, and you should do whatever you're comfortable with. But in person is a secret superpower. I'm only one person, what can I do? So you walk up to someone, hi, would you like a button? You're giving something. You're already having a positive engagement. And people go, well, what's it for? And do I have to buy that? No, we're just trying to get the word out. And so conversation has begun. And even if you don't register anyone, you're canvassing. You're getting the word out. You're talking about things that matter to people. It's positive. And the Republicans run away. The way we're going to bring our democracy back from over the cliff is to register Democrats. And we can do it and we can have fun. As I always say, you can have the Buddhas will help you. The Buddhas will help you. I care and I want to get through the Zoom two-dimensional stuff. So my job is to get people voting. When people vote, Republicans don't win. Yeah. And so that's what I try to do. People ask me sometimes, there are the things you shouldn't say. And I say, of course. You should never say, what a piece of Trump is, because that wouldn't be nice.
That was pitch perfect. Thank you so much, Gina, for everything that you do. Next, let's travel to Nevada to meet our next candidate, Aaron Ford. He's running for his next term as Attorney General of Nevada, a spot that could not be more important in this deeply purple state. During his last term, Aaron won over $300 million in lawsuits against opioid manufacturers, pushed for common sense gun safety laws, and he safeguarded access to abortion in Nevada, especially since his opponent has promised to punish women seeking abortions. So now, please welcome a fighter for all rights of all Nevadans, Attorney General Aaron Ford.
Well, hi, everybody. It's great to see you. I'm sorry, I'm in my car and I can't see everybody at the same time, but I'm so delighted to be on the screen with you all and quite a few participants on here, which is great because we need the enthusiasm that's demonstrated here on this Zoom. This is going to be a tough election, right? I mean, you hear every single cycle. This is the most important election of our lifetime, and every single time it is, right? The truth is because this is not each of these is not a war, it's a battle and a perpetual war. We are continually having to fight for our rights, defending our constitutional rights, defending things that are important to us and ensuring that people don't take us backwards. It's interesting, right? Because I hear a lot of folks on the other side always complaining about people being woke. Well, I tell you, I'd rather be woke than whack because there's a lot of whack stuff coming out of the other side. They're part of the wrong right, to tell the truth, right? And at the end of the day, people talk about how bad it is to be progressive. Well, think about this. The opposite of progressive is regressive. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to regress and take us back to times and ages where we had less rights than we do right now. Proof positive of that fact is one that's, I'm sure, on everybody's mind right now, and that's reproductive freedoms, the right to have an abortion, right? This is a constitutional right that has been recognized for almost 50 years, and they have taken us back. There was a day and time in which young children woke up with less rights than their parents had in one day. And at the end of the day, we have to recognize the importance of all of us continuing to fight in this perpetual war, every cycle being a battle. not one that we can get complacent in because we've won, or one that we have been able to stave off some of the attacks, but one that is as I said, a perpetual battle in the perpetual war, and we just have to keep up working toward that. Now, what have we done in my office to continue to support these rights that are so important? One of the biggest things that we did that most folks probably remember, not probably, I'm sure you do remember, is that we defended the actual existence of our democratic republic. Now, what am I talking about? I remember taking that oath of office where I swore to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Nevada. Now, I didn't know that they literally meant that I would literally have to defend the existence of our democratic republic. And 2 years ago, people did exactly the opposite of what they should have been doing. They were attacking the integrity of our electoral system, and they were attempting to undermine one of the most sacrosanct rights that we have, the right to vote. A right that undergirds every other right that's out there. That's why they attack it so much. That's why they use as many opportunities to disenfranchise folks as possible, because they know that if they can shut you up at the ballot box, then they can do what they want to do relative to abortion. They can do what they want to do relative to gun violence. They can do or do nothing in that particular regard. They can do what they want to do relative to environmental protections, or nothing, right? And we have seen that coming time and time and time again. So listen, I am Aaron Ford. I am woke, not whack. I'm a progressive, not regressive. And I'm absolutely looking for the opportunity to return to the best job I've ever had. I've had some good jobs too. I used to be a teacher. I used to be the state Senate majority leader. But this by far is the best job I've ever had. Truth be told, it's also the most stressful job I've ever had. But one that a job that I love, and one that I'm trying to keep. But not a job that we can keep without the help of people like you. We need people like you who are our soldiers on the ground in these battles that are a part of the perpetual war, knocking on those doors, making those phone calls, helping us to raise money so that we can get the message out. This message where I'm talking to 156 members of the same choir, well, we got to be able to spread this word to the larger choir, to the entirety of our state, so that they understand what's at stake. And I'll say this as I end. One of the most important parts of this job, in my estimation, is to have someone in this job who appreciates and respects the humanity and dignity of everyone, every Nevadan. Listen, you go down to Texas, you can't give gender affirming care to your children, right? You go to Florida, you can't say gay. And at the end of the day, those are examples of people who are attacking the humanity and dignity of our fellow citizens and our fellow residents. The person running against me on the Republican side, she clearly doesn't respect my humanity and my dignity. How do I know it? Because I hate to use this phraseology, and I don't know if we have any children on the Zoom, but I'm going to quote what she has said. She wants to see me hanging from a fucking crane. That's what she has said. She doesn't respect my humanity or my dignity. And I can guarantee you that if she were to hold this seat that I hold currently, she will likewise disregard your humanity and dignity. And that's, again, one of the most important components of this job. So listen, again, I cannot win this race without you. We barely won last time. We won by 0.47 percentage points, 4,533 votes out of about 1 million cast. And that was a blue wave year. This is not a blue wave year. This is going to be a tough battle. One that we can win, but again, only with your support. So I thank you for the opportunity to speak to you, and I want to thank you again for all the work, all the hard work that you're doing to win this battle as part of this perpetual war. So thanks so much, and I will turn the mic back to you.
Thank you so much. That's Aaron Ford. Again, we need that exact passion. That's exactly what we want to see. Now we'll hear from a true Field Team 6 volunteer superstar, a young woman with a nonstop parade of incredible ideas, Eliana Sirota.
My name is Eliana Sirota, and I live in New York City. I'll be moving to Northampton, Massachusetts for college in the fall, though. I am leaning towards classics and government.
The greatest responsibility rests with we, the people.
They're both things that I'm super interested in. For Field Team 6, I run the Instagram account. I wanted to work with Field Team 6 because I think getting people out there to vote is really, really important.
If you want change, you got to make the change. You can't just sit at home.
I I had no previous experience with Instagram or like running a social media account. I just kind of was thrown into it. Whee! But it seems to be working out well. Yeah. So I make memes, I make posts, try to engage people with voting and registering other people to vote. I use some of the assets Field Team 6 already created, and sometimes I create my own. It seems like memes are usually the way to get people's attention, kind of draw them in with something funny, and then start talking about how important it is to vote. We are in this situation where Roe v. Wade was overturned because people didn't vote. Like, that is the direct cause. So people just have to vote. They really just have to vote. One thing that I really like is to give a shout out kind of to a specific volunteer, because I think it's really important to give voice to all the hard work that people are doing. A lot of the time it feels like it can kind of get drowned out by all the terrible news. Significant follower growth has been created since I started working on it, so I'm kind of proud of that. So that's what I've been doing, and I've been enjoying it a lot.
Thank you for bringing so much creativity and fun to this, Eliana. And now we head back east to Georgia, a state where major political miracles have been known to happen. We're about to meet Antonio Daza, who is running for Congress in Georgia's 11th district. Antonio is a political refugee from Venezuela, and he's become a citizen, followed the American dream, and he now is the owner of a dance studio. He's a proud member of the LGBTQ plus community, and his platform champions justice, democracy, equity, and equality. Also, he deserves our thanks for running against his opponent, Representative Barry Loudermilk, who is under investigation by the January 6th committee for leading a tour through the Capitol the day before the insurrection. Yep, real stand-up dude. Please welcome Antonio Daza.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Phil, Team 6, for the opportunity to be here and introduce myself. My name is Antonio Daza, and I am the Democratic nominee for Georgia's 11th Congressional District. I'm the candidate who supports, like you said, justice, democracy, equity, and equality. And I would like to tell you why these important ideas are the basis of my platform. As an immigrant, as a member of the LGBTQ plus community, and a small business owner, I am qualified to see where we're falling short to address true liberty for all people in the United States. Back in 2020, George Floyd's murder put me on the streets with other members of my community, shouting for the voice of justice to be heard. I felt like I was 19 years old again, standing on the streets of Caracas and protesting the atrocities of Hugo Chávez's regime. The burning cars, the tear gas, the cries of pain, and my family calling me fearful for my safety. All of this was just too familiar to me. Of course, I was very scared, but I knew at that moment that I had to become involved in the forces shaping the direction of our country, forces that are moving us away from democracy. Then on January 6, 2021, I watched the news horrified at the events of the insurrection. And believe me, I know a coup when I see one. Let me share a little personal story with you. On February 4th, 1992, I was 9 years old. I remember that day vividly in my head. As I was getting ready to go to school that morning, my mom called me to the television and we watched the disturbing images of the Venezuelan army tanks approaching the Capitol. This was Hugo Chávez's first of 3 attempts at a coup against our democracy in Venezuela. So on January 6th last year, I realized that this was no longer a policy debate. This was not a political discourse between liberals and conservatives or Republicans and Democrats. This was a threat to our way of life, a threat to our democracy, a threat to the liberties and freedoms that we have built, that have built the United States into a global economic force, a place for hope, asylum, a place where I've planted my roots, and the place I'm so proud to call home. I was shocked to see how Barry Loudermilk voted to overturn a fair and legal election in support of a president who presumed himself to be unbeatable. This year, he also lied to all of us about the January 5th tour of the Capitol complex by insurrectionists and extremists who wanted to overthrow our democracy. So this was a threat to our way of life, a threat to our liberties, our freedoms, and the foundations of this country. So that's when my calling took shape, and I filed to run against him. Look, justice, democracy, equity, and equality are not just words or ideas to me. These are real things that can be taken away. I've seen it happen, and I'm watching it happen again right now in this country. And that is ultimately why I'm running for Congress. So the choice is clear. I'm the outsider with fresh ideas who will listen to the people of my district, while Barry is the insider who recycles the ideas of others and refuses to meet with the people he represents. So now is the time to put someone in office who will fight against tyranny and who will fight for the rights of all people and who will be your voice. So if you're tired and disgusted with the representation we have under extreme right-wing conservative extremists like Barry Loudermilk, I'm going to ask for your support. Follow me on social media, all of them, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, you name it, all under Vote Daza 2022. Volunteer. Visit our website, votedaza.com. That's VOTEDAZA.com, and donate to our campaign. It will take all of our actions to replace Barry with a person who truly cares about people, their needs, and their dreams. Now is the time to put someone in office who will fight for you, for your family, for your neighbors, and for everyone in America. So my name is Antonio Daza. I am the Democratic nominee for Georgia's 11th Congressional District, and I will fight for justice, democracy, equity, and equality. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and thank you for your support.
Thank you so much, Antonio. And now let's meet Field Team 6 super organizer who does so much that we call her the czar of most things. It's Sharon Lord Greetsman.
I do a lot for Field Team 6 because I absolutely love the organization. And the more I do, the more I can keep my anxiety at bay. I run our postcarding program with my partner, Janet Ho. I work on the newsletter. I run all of our Zoom rooms. I also update our volunteer ops page, which is very important because that's where everybody goes to find out what they can do to help save democracy. I'm incredibly proud of our postcarding program. We'll definitely hit 1 million before the election.
We are at Linda Lauer's house tonight for a postcard writing party.
Our volunteers, we have so many and they're working so hard. I'm not sure that anyone really thought that postcards was going to be an effective way to get people registered, but in our database, we have some unregistered voters who don't list a phone number that can be texted or called. And so the only way to reach them is by snail mail. And that's us. That's where we come in. No voter left behind.
Hold the floor. A 24-hour marathon people's filibuster. Raising money for voter registration renegades. Field Team 6.
I love Field Team 6 because there's an element of joy and humor.
Just you wait.
Hey, it's Sharon from Field Team 6 coming at you from a closet.
And here's you registering to vote.
Maybe some people need doom and gloom to get them going. I need the opposite. There's always something we can do.
This country is bigger than you and me.
Let's never stop fighting.
I will not yield.
Let's make each other laugh.
Field Team 6.
Because laughing and joy in the face of this crap is subversive. I don't get out of bed for anything more than free, so.
Yeah.
Thank you for devoting your brilliance, your heart, your humor, and countless hours to the cause, Sharon. Now it's time to go north to the tipping point state, Wisconsin, where we find some truly staunch defenders of democracy. Right now, we'll meet a truly unique candidate, Doug LaFollette, who's running for Secretary of State. Many candidates tout their experience, but there is no one besides Doug who can say that they've been Secretary of State for a total of 48 years. Please welcome Doug LaFollette.
Well, thank you very much for having me come on and meet all of you. As you heard, I've been Secretary of State for a long time. This most recent election is something we need to talk about because it's going to be critical for our democracy in Wisconsin and all across the country. What's going on, as I'm sure you know, is the Trump people are trying to elect their representatives to the office of Secretary of State and county clerks and other places where they can have some influence on the upcoming election. I was about to retire, but then I was convinced to run for re-election because I am the most likely Democrat who's had a chance to win against the Republican. My opponent wants to move the election responsibilities to the Secretary of State's office so she might be able to influence them in a future election. I'm opposed to that. I think we need to keep election responsibilities out of the hands of partisan politicians. We need election boards, election commissions. We don't need secretaries of state to be in charge of elections. And that's why I'm running for re-election, so I can hopefully keep the control of election in Wisconsin in the hands of an independent commission, not in the hands of an elected partisan politician, particularly someone who is sympathetic to the Trump administration proposals. Well, thank you very much. I don't know if you ask questions or not, but that's where I'm at. I've got a long record of working on environmental issues. I started out as a professor teaching environmental science and other things. And so I worked very hard on environmental issues. Take a look at my website, douglafollette.com. Very simple, douglafollette.com, and see what's going on there. I have on Facebook and Twitter. Check out Twitter, check out Facebook. We'll see what's going on in the campaign. But again, I ask for your support in Wisconsin, but also I ask you to be involved in Arizona and Michigan, Georgia, Pennsylvania, other places where this same effort is going on to try to put people in a position where they can fiddle with the election. That is very bad for our democracy. I'm worried. I've been involved for many years. I've never seen it in such a bad situation where we could lose control of our democratic processes. We have to fight for this, and we have to try to do our best to restore some good voting rights of people all across this country. If we can get enough control of the US Senate to pass some of these voting rights proposals that passed the House but could not pass the Senate. Okay, I'll stop there, and very nice to meet all of you across the country.
I think that was perfect, Doug. Thank you so much. I don't think anyone's under any illusion about how important Wisconsin is. So again, that's Doug LaFollette running for thank you for running elections so well and for winning so many elections yourself. Now we go out west to California's 47th district to hear from a candidate who we need to serve for at least 48 more years, Katie Porter. She needs no introduction, but she's going to get one. She is a bona fide progressive who in 2018 flipped her Orange County seat blue. She is completely fearless. She wields her whiteboard to speak truth to power, to defend the middle class, to unilaterally bring the entire country free COVID vaccinations. Plus, she is as real as it gets. So she's now running in a newly redrawn district where she's just being introduced to 70% of her new constituents. So please welcome Field Team 6's hero, Representative Katie Porter.
Thank you so much for that introduction. I'm sorry to be so casual. I'm coming to you from water polo practice, where I just dropped my daughter off and was writing thank you notes to donors, and I'm juggling today. So I just want to start by saying thank you to Field Team 6 and to all of the people who are part of that team. The work that you do really, really inspires and empowers campaigns around the country. When the going gets tough, and it's tough this cycle, it feels different to have Field Team 6 by your side. So thank you so much, Field Team 6. I think you all know what is at stake in this election. It is nothing more, nothing less than our democracy and our future. And to do that, we need to make sure that we're helping encourage people to register to vote, teaching them how to vote, and making sure they understand that their vote does in fact count. And that what we're going to do in this election is elect folks like Doug and others so that that will continue to be the case. When I got elected in 2018, when I flipped this seat and defeated a Republican, my district was R+6. R+6. Field Team 6 led the charge, along with others on the ground, to close that Republican registration gap by registering voters all over Orange County. And by the time that we came about redistricting, we had equal numbers of Democrats and Republicans. That is a huge change on the ground that really made the difference in helping me get elected and stay elected in 2020. There are 75 days between now and Election Day. That means that it's time to go. That number, that 75 days, may sound like a lot, but you have to remember that in states like California, ballots drop October 10th. So that means we have just a little bit over a month, about 5 weeks, until voters are going to start filling out the ballots that are mailed to them. And we're going to encourage people to fill those ballots out early and turn them in early. And so we have to make sure that we're doing the work of registering and talking to voters early. As Brian mentioned, because of redistricting, at the end of the year, right around Christmas time, I asked for diamonds, but what I got was about 500,000 new constituents, potentially new voters. And so it's a lot of folks to meet. I love meeting new people, but it's a lot of work to introduce yourself and to persuade them in a tough cycle. The new district includes really traditionally deep red areas like Huntington Beach and Newport Beach. So this area is currently represented by a Republican in Congress, Michelle Steele. And so it's really, really important that we look for votes where we can find them, including registering new people, reaching out to younger voters, less frequent voters, new registrants, our college campuses. And lucky for me, that is exactly what Field Team 6 is expert at doing. So we are making sure that we're doing all the work here on the ground, but we can't do it alone as a campaign. We have to do it in partnership with you all. So I cannot say thank you enough. I stand here as a, well, I don't look like a member of Congress, but I am. I stand here as a member of Congress because of the work that Field Team 6 did. And I intend to get reelected in 2022 with Field Team 6 by my side. So thank you so much, everyone, for what you do, your passion, your dedication, the fact that you have committed to this year in and year out. You understand there are no off years, there are no off cycles in democracy. And so thank you for everything you do. You inspire me, and I'm so grateful.
Katie Porter, thank you so much. You are the ultimate inspiration. I think I speak for everybody here in saying that we could listen to you speak all day. So thank you for everything you do. You are, as good a representative of the Democratic Party as we could possibly ask for. So thank you. Okay, now let's bring back Field Team 6 founder Jason Berlin and force him to spill the beans and tell us what the heck he was talking about earlier. So Jason.
Hello. Hey, I just have to first of all say thank you so much, Katie Porter. You're when we think of hero, we think of you. And super proud of an effort we put together earlier this week when we texted over 120,000 unregistered likely Democrats to get them registered across 6 swing districts in California, including CA 47, the new district lines. So we're doing that. We're doing voter registration in person as well. We had a team of between 3 and 5 volunteers, depending on the day, do 4 in-person voter drives in Orange County. In those 4 drives, they registered almost 300 students on campus. It's back to school. So, and that's in every state. So, get out there, register people in person, all their volunteers. Yes. So I'm actually, right now, my job is to tell people about an amazing new tool that we've developed at Field Team 6. It's called Blue Voter Guide. It's the brainchild of our own official master hairball detangler, Wayne Liebman. And it was put together by a team of 40 volunteers that he assembled. Okay, first of all, These are our 9 target states in this election cycle. Blue Voter Guide works in 8 of them currently, and it will work in the 9th Florida by September 9th. California, you see, is one of our target states because we are fighting to save the House majority. It is absolutely within reach. This is something that we can do, and the fate of the House could be decided by what happens in California, since there are so many swing districts here, including Katie's CA 47. Blue Voter Guide. It's a new, unique get out the vote tool that's built by grassroots organizers for everyone. It's progressive, it's simple, and it's shareable. So it brings voters along, including first-time voters or hesitant ones for whom the biggest obstacle to voting is that it's confusing. Here's how it works. You go to bluevoterguide.org. It shows you all the candidates, judges, and propositions on your ballot, wherever you are in these 9 target states. And it shows you what endorsements they have from major liberal progressive organizations. So it makes choosing easy. Here, I just entered my zip code, click build your ballot. By the way, there are no tricks or catches to this. It is a free tool that we created because there's a huge need for it nationwide. So your address information is not tracked or retained. Put in your address, click build my ballot, and it shows you this shows me what will be on my ballot. On blue candidates, you can select from. Oh, very cute. Oh, I love that so much. It shows you the red candidates, but you can't pick them. If only all ballots were like this, Once you get to the bottom, and it shows you, as I said, it shows you state senators, state assembly, mayor, Karen Bass. It goes down to judges. That's the question everyone always asks. How does it have judges? It has judges. And you can see next to each candidate, there are the endorsements for that candidate to help you choose. At the very bottom, when you're done, and here are the ballot measures that are explained in clear language, you click create your ballot. It shows you your choices, and you can forward that to members of your family if you think it could help them. If they like to see it, you can share it on social media. It's an amazing tool, and we need everybody to spread the word about it as far and wide as you can so that people can use it. I'm putting in the chat right now links to a short video about it that explains it and ways to help spread the word so we can get more people to the polls and voting up and down the ballot, so we can build that blue infrastructure from the bottom up. All right. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Jason. Now time to hop on a plane down to the Sunshine State of Florida, where we get to hear from an amazing candidate for the House of Representatives, Annette Taddeo, who, by the way, I just interviewed a few weeks ago for my podcast. In 2017, Annette became the first Latina Democrat elected to the state Senate in Florida history, and she flipped a Senate seat that was held by a Republican at that time. Now she's running to flip a U.S. House district that's currently held by Republican Maria Salazar, and she is the perfect person for the job. If you don't know her, you need to. Please welcome Annette Taddeo.
Thank you so much. I'm so delighted to see all. So many people. This is awesome. My name is Annette Taddeo, and I am the Democratic nominee for Florida 27. We just won our primary overwhelmingly, so we're on cloud 9. But we're ready for the general, and we're ready to beat Maria Elvira Salazar, who is someone who needs to be beat. Look, here in Miami, as the first Latina Democrat elected to the Florida Senate, yes, it took until 2017. I can tell you that there are a lot of politicians, especially, that love to talk about freedom. But I can tell you that you cannot be about freedom in Cuba and Venezuela and Nicaragua and many other places, like my opponent, if you're not going to defend freedom and democracy right here on US soil. And that's what this fight is about. It's about our democracy. So we're going to make history again. I wasn't just the first Latina, I was also the first Jewish Hispanic legislator in Florida history, and I will be the first Jewish Latina congresswoman. So I look forward to breaking barriers again and making history with your help. this is a winnable seat. This is a seat that Donna Shalala used to have. And it's a seat that it is 75% Hispanic. So we know that with my background, I'm the daughter of an American pilot who was from New Jersey, fought in World War II and Korea, and was sent to Colombia. And I moved here when I was 17 because that same dad, who is my hero, was kidnapped by the FARC, a Marxist terrorist group. And I came alone to the United States, to Alabama, learned English, went through some tough times. But throughout my life, all of these tough obstacles along the way have made me so much stronger. And my dog is freaking out. Come here. Have made me so much stronger and able to win in these tough races. The race that I won, and this is Mocha, the race that I won for in 2017 was the first race in the country to flip from red to blue. And I do represent a seat that Trump carried by 6 points. So I know how to win in very tough places. This is not a seat that Trump carried by 6 points. This is a +1 Democratic seat, and we are going to beat Maria Elvira Salazar with your help. Thank you so much. I hope you guys help us out, because Florida is not what they all say. And it starts with Miami and with the Hispanic vote. Let's turn this around for the rest of the country. Let's keep the seat in our hands, in the blue hands, so that we can make sure that we save democracy here, and then we can help others to bring democracy.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Annette Taddeo. If there's anybody that can flip that seat, it is her. Also, we are very pro dogs here. I think if the last 4 years of the Trump administration taught us anything, it's that you should always trust dog people. Now we head to Texas, where we find the most badass activists in the country and the candidates to match. For a 2,000-foot view of what's going on, we found the #1 best person to ask. It is the coordinated campaign director for the Democratic Party of Texas, Lauren Harper. Lauren's also the co-founder of the Welcome Party and Welcome PAC, and previously served as South Carolina state director for Beto O'Rourke's former 2019 presidential campaign. For an overview on all things political campaigns in Texas, please welcome Lauren Harper.
Hey everybody, so great to be here with you tonight. Super stoked to get everybody jazzed up to get voters registered this cycle. As mentioned, Texas Coordinated Campaign Director, and grateful to be joined by one of my favorite candidates, Mike Collier, tonight. You'll hear from him after me. But we've been on the ground doing lots of voter contact. We did 40,000 doors last week with all of the different organizations that are involved in our coordinated campaign. So we're incredibly excited about that. We have about 3 million unregistered voters here in Texas, and about 2 million of those voters are likely Democrats. So we're really excited to get those folks registered. We think that more than half of those are Latino voters, and a quarter of those are young voters. A fifth of them are Black voters. So we just have so much potential to do voter turnout this cycle, recognizing that it's going to be incredibly important to really reach those low propensity voters this cycle. We have awesome work with our Project Texas organization through the Texas Dems that registers voters. And we also have a new relational organizing app called Texas Connect Texas. I always mess up the name of it, Connect Texas. And so we're excited to use those tools this cycle, get everybody all on board, and elect Beto all the way down, Mike Collier, Rochelle Garza, everybody. And just grateful for y'all's time tonight. So without further ado, I want to introduce Texas's next Lieutenant Governor, Mike Collier, who is excited to do things like fix the damn grid. We have lots of issues with our grid, as y'all know. Fund public education, ensure that the future of Texas is in good hands. And so come on in, Mike. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you, Lauren. Can you hear me okay? Lauren, nice to see you. Mike Collier here, coming to you from Zephyr, Texas. If anybody knows their way around Zephyr, it's right in the middle of nowhere. We are on the road. I started in Houston a couple of days ago and found my way up to Amarillo, which is 12 hours of driving. And now we're finding our way back to Austin and back to Houston. It's a big state, but we're out earning every single vote. We're going to every county, and Beto's doing the same thing. And so is Rochelle, all of us, going to all the counties, going and seeing everyone, Democrats and independents and Republicans alike, because everyone in Texas knows how important this election cycle is. Let me start with Roe v. Wade and what happened with overturning Roe v. Wade in Texas. Today is the day that the trigger law takes effect. My opponent, Dan Patrick, is the one who wrote that bill, and we despise it as Texans. And he used excess power that he's accumulated unto himself, taking advantage of a party that's been in power. You know what they say about power, it corrupts. And that's what he did to us. And now he has sentenced countless women to their death. And so many families and lives are going to be destroyed. And it's criminalized women and their doctors and the people that love them. And that's Dan Patrick who did this. The lieutenant governor, who is the president of the Senate, is arguably the most powerful lawmaker in the state. That's why this election is so important. And the polls show us 4 points away. And I say, when I say us, I mean all of us on this ticket. Show us 4 points away, and we're gaining on them. They know that they're in trouble. We know that they're in trouble because where they have taken us, Texans do not want to go. And they're going to find that overturning Roe v. Wade is a Pyrrhic victory, but we have to make it happen. There are lives, families, people that we love, that all hangs in the balance, and we have to make it happen. So we are working extremely. We have other issues to deal with in Texas. I'm very passionate about public education. To a large extent, this election is a referendum on that. We have a grid that failed and killed a lot of people. We have to fix the damn grid, as I like to say. And we have that. Criminal justice reform. We have so many problems in the criminal justice system. People that are sitting in prison, profit prison, some shouldn't be. We want to legalize marijuana. It's time for that in this state. Expand Medicaid and live our values of healthcare as a fundamental human right. All of those things are within our reach. We're 4 points away and gaining on them, which is why the work that you do is so important to the work that Beto is doing and I'm doing and Rochelle Garza and all the candidates, the statewide candidates. And as we all know, lots of eyes are on Texas because as Texas politics goes, so goes the nation. And the last thing I want to say is that we're very concerned about whether or not democracy is going to survive this era that we find ourselves in now. To a large extent, Texas is ground zero for voter suppression and the other things that Republicans will do to disable democracy, which is why we, recognizing that we're 4 points away and fired up and all in this together, we will save democracy in Texas, and that'll be a profound influence on the rest of the country. And so the work that we're doing is so important. And I just want to leave you with one last thing. The fellow that I'm running against, Dan Patrick, happens to be Donald Trump's right-hand man in this state. Now, just imagine the headline. Donald Trump's right-hand man gets beat by a Democrat in deep red Texas. Then the whole world will know that Texas has risen up and spoken, and you all are a part of this. And I cannot thank you enough. So, and I hope to meet you. Thanks for all you do. Let's go out and win this.
Thank you so much to Mike. We cannot wait to see you win. Speaking of which, I'd like to introduce you to another major force who helps Field Team 6's candidates win their elections. Meet phone bank czar Ashley Craig, a volunteer and super organizer who makes sure that they connect with and register as many new Democrats as they can all year, every year.
I'm Jesuit educated, so I've always been taught that you're supposed to make a difference. Like, the more you have, the more you're supposed to give. I oversee all of the Field Team 6 phone banks.
Hello, what do you want?
So what that entails is acting as the main point of contact for anyone that wants to run a phone bank or any volunteer that has any issues with phone banks. Whenever I lead a phone bank, I also like to phone bank myself. I think the key to success is having the right level of expectations.
How's that?
You may not reach anybody, but then somebody else who was on your team that day reached 4 people. So that's a win for everybody. Every single call you make is helpful. If you find out that somebody's moved, that's great. We can update that information. If it's the wrong number, disconnected, all of those are really helpful, and it definitely cleans up our data. Our data is really our power. So having that data accurate is incredibly important. Collectively, we've made a lot of calls. We've made over 100,000 calls this year alone. So that's pretty darn good. I think if we all go in with a great attitude that we're making a difference, then that makes it for a really rewarding experience. Sorry. we need to redo that. By the way, that is very common with my phone banks. I have 4 dogs and they always bark during my phone bank trainings. I was a lodging and gaming analyst at Morgan Stanley. I know Donald Trump. I met with him before and I refused to have anything to do with him professionally because he was not a legitimate business person. So I was absolutely horrified that he won in 2016. So after that happened, I told myself there was no way it was going to happen again. So I put every ounce of energy I had into electing Joe Biden in 2020. I just love Field Team 6. I love the organization of the group. I love the professionalism. I love the attitude, the kind of fun camaraderie that comes with it. It makes it really easy for all of us to get to work and to be effective.
Who's calling? Well, what number is it? Well, what number are you calling? Well, I'm calling your number.
Thank you so much to Ashley. And now I'm very proud to introduce Dan Pastore, who's running to flip Pennsylvania's 16th congressional district. He's not only a lawyer, he's also a carpenter, an internet entrepreneur, a lifelong fisherman, and owner of a leading online tackle store. He's running on a strong pro-jobs, pro-education, pro-healthcare platform. And he's running against incumbent Mike Kelly, a super nice dude whose chief of staff was instrumental in passing slates of false electors to Mike Pence in the January 6th insurrection, because only the best people, or something. Please welcome Dan Pastore.
Well, thank you very much for having me here tonight. I'm really excited to be here. I am Dan Pastore. I'm running for the PA 16 House of Representatives. So in Northwest Pennsylvania, we're a very diverse district with some urban areas and some very rural areas. I'm a lifelong Democrat, lifelong resident of my region, fighting to protect our democratic values. I want to bring good and paying jobs to our region, reduce the cost of healthcare and childcare, and protect our environment, protect the right to organize, and protect a woman's right to choose. I got in this race to protect those values, but also to protect our democracy. My opponent, Mike Kelly, was one of the people in the forefront of that attack on our democracy. He brought a lawsuit here in Pennsylvania to throw out all mail-in ballots and to effectively change the outcome of the election here in Pennsylvania. He's also still out there pushing the big lie. He is also a big Trump supporter, and we've seen the consequence of pushing out that misinformation. We watched it unfold on January 6th when our own people of our own country attacked our Capitol building. He's also on the wrong side of the women's right to choose issue. While talking about letting the states decide, he's pushing legislation in the US Congress to roll back a woman's right to choose at 6 weeks, no exception for rape or incest across the country. So taking that right away from people in their own states. And so what I've seen in this race is after the January 6th hearing started, and then especially after the Dobbs decision came down, there's just been a tremendous surge of interest. People want to get engaged. They're scared. They know what is at stake and they want to get involved. So we've had a tremendous outpouring of support across the political spectrum, not only women, young people, even independents and Republicans. So not only do we have to get out the Democratic vote, there are people who want to change parties and we got to sign them up. And so I'm excited to be running. Where I am, we have the ability to pick up a Senate seat with John Fetterman. Our governor, Josh Shapiro's great candidate running against the most extreme Republican Mastriano. So people understand here in Pennsylvania what it means, what this election means, and how important it is. So with your help, we can elect John Fetterman, we can elect Josh Shapiro, and with your help, we can flip this seat, get Mike Kelly out, and help me get into Congress. So we've had great support, and with your help, we can take back this seat. So looking forward to working the phone banks, getting out there, knocking on doors, getting in mail-in ballots, and we can win this. We can win it across Pennsylvania. We can win it across the United States. So thank you again for having me, and I'm really excited to have you guys helping us out on this race.
Thank you so much to Dan. Again, that's PA 16, one of the most important states we have right now. Field Team 6 will do all it can to make sure that you win in this bellwether district. So thanks again to Dan. One person who's been instrumental to all of the Field Team 6 efforts is the truly tireless super organizer, Deb Verla. She's the other person with the title Czar of Most Things, since there is literally no end to her activism. Here she is, Deb Verla.
For Field Team 6, I run their text bank program. And I also run their Media Storm program. A lot of the people who come to my trainings, both for the text banks and for the Media Storms, they're nervous, they're anxious about it. It's using technology in a way that they've never used it before. So a big part of my job is getting them over that initial fear, or over that initial reluctance. The text bank is where we put together a list of potentially non-registered voters, and we reach out to those people by text message and ask them to go and register at our voterizer.org website. They can just click the button on their phone and register to vote. You can reach a lot of people fairly quickly with a text bank, as opposed to being out on the street reaching out to people in person.
Avast, ye should join Field Team 6 Social Storming.
A social storm is essentially free advertising using social media.
Social storming is when a small group of activists all post, like, and share things on social media.
I love doing the media storms. People come back week after week and they give advice to the new people. So it's really built a sense of community. Now that we've got this squad out there of people sending out tweets with us, we're getting our message out in front of 50 and 60 million sets of eyeballs every week. The two things that are most important to me are abortion rights and LGBTQ rights. Having a queer daughter makes me very aware of the kinds of problems that so many people go through. And if I can make a lot of noise about these issues, then yeah, we're going to do it. It's going to help save the world.
All right, thank you so much for being an unstoppable force for good, Deb. We now go to the Grand Canyon State, Arizona, to meet Adrian Fontes, the always inspiring candidate who must be elected to the critical position of Secretary of State in order to protect this swing state and America more broadly from Trumpism. He is a Marine and a former prosecutor. Adrian is going to continue to make voting safer, easier, and more secure, just as he did in his former role as recorder of Maricopa County. He's running against Trump Republican and traitor Mark Fincham, who is a dangerous anti-American extremist who is not only a literal member of the Oath Keepers, he's going to do his best to take away people's right to vote in person and by mail and to have those votes counted fairly. Please welcome Adrian Fontes.
Thank you so much for having me, and hello, Field Team 6. I know I'm not muted because the little thing's telling me that I'm not, but I'm really glad to be here with you all. We can make an enormous difference here, and I don't think it's enough to express the importance of this and the incredible difference between myself and my opponent. I know everybody on this call has already been sent my bio, so I will cut short my presentation on that side of things. But I do want to talk just for a brief second about my opponent. Not only was he at January 6th, not only is he an Oath Keeper, but he has co-sponsored legislation to indicate that in Arizona, if folks don't like, in the legislature, if they don't like the outcome of the popular vote, that the Arizona legislature will be able to send whatever electors they want to the Electoral College in 2024. This is real, folks. This guy is an incredible threat to our democracy. He does not like mail-in voting, which was used in 2020 by 92% of Arizona's voters. and 88% of our primary voters just a few weeks ago. But he disrespects the idea that folks know how to run elections. He wants voters to only vote in their own home precinct on election day and have hand counting of all of those ballots. Anybody that knows anything about election administration know that this is not only a logistical nightmare, financially impossible, but really is just a very difficult thing to do. That's on the technical side of things. But at the end of the day, look, folks, this could not be, again, a more stark difference between a guy like that and a guy like me. I'm an attorney. I'm a proud father of three very, very incredible, independent young ladies. My oldest is 17. My middle kid is 14. She's practicing. She's on the golf team, of all things. And my youngest, 12 years old. I want these young women to grow up in a country where they can believe in their own future and have control of their own bodies. I also want to make sure that folks understand that I am a CIRA certified election administrator. Auburn University and the Election Center does a thing called CIRA certification. I am a certified election and registration administrator. I will be the only Arizona State Secretary of State who takes office with all of these things in mind, including, as mentioned, the fact that I'm a veteran of the United States Marine Corps. And I'm a guy who's actually run elections. I've actually been a registrar of voters, and I am the guy who built the system that beat the cyber ninjas. That's right. Maricopa County 2020, the subject of more scrutiny than any other election system in the history of America. Broward County ain't got nothing on Maricopa 2020. I built that system, the bipartisan system that crushed all of the conspiracy theories, that crushed all of the doubt and innuendo, that made sure that facts reigned supreme, and we actually made sure that folks could vote. And while I was the county recorder here in Maricopa County, we went from 2.1 to 2.6 million voters on our voter rolls. Think of the proportional increase of 500,000 voters in just 4 years. And from 2016 to 2020, folks, Maricopa County saw 600,000 more ballots cast. But it's not just about me. It's about the uncertainty presented by these folks on the other side. And think about that uncertainty. If you're in business, in industry, in tech, arts and sciences, music, law, medicine, we need people running these systems, not only who know how to run these systems, but who will be dependable and reasonable. We need a little bit of adult in these offices. And here in Arizona, this is what is most important. Yes, the governor's race is incredibly important, and so are the other races. But from a position of, look, you can't get a more stark difference. Mark Fincham was on the steps of the Capitol on January 6th. He is an insurrectionist and a traitor. And my time in the Marine Corps really was a time where I wrote this country a blank check payable on my life to protect and uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. Folks, whatever you can do to help keep me in service, even if it's not in that particular uniform, I'm happy to take charge. I'm happy to move forward. And by the way, in Arizona, the Secretary of State, many of you may not know, is also next in line for the governorship of the state of Arizona. We don't have a lieutenant governor here. The Secretary of State is next in line. So this is a very big deal. I'm very excited to be here. Field Team 6 is an incredible, incredible group of folks. I just actually got briefed again by my campaign on how incredible the work you all are going to do is. electfontes.com is the website where you can learn more about me. You can learn about some of my policies that I have proposed, including a policy to potentially add medical care providers and women who are seeking abortion onto the confidential voter list so that their addresses cannot be easily looked up from the regular voter rolls, saving the privacy of some folks because we're looking back at some territorial laws in Arizona to revert back to that don't have exceptions for rape or incest. I am one of those kinds of guys who really supports and trusts women to make their own decisions with their own bodies. I believe in science. And look, this old Marine was a marksmanship instructor too. I know that there are certain weapons that should not be available to the civilian population. So if you want a guy who understands these things from a personal perspective, not just family, not just my education, not just my professional training as an election administrator, but is willing to fight like hell to make sure that elections, that golden thread that runs through and holds together the fabric of our society. I'm running to make sure we don't pull that thread out and disintegrate all of our society, all of those different sectors that I mentioned. We have to protect our democracy. We have to protect this republic. I am the bulwark against that chaos and that uncertainty here in Arizona. We absolutely love to have your help here in the Grand Canyon state. We used to be known as the baby state till Hawaii and Alaska jumped in, but God bless them, it makes us 50 and we're stronger, united against these folks who want to divide us all. My name is Adrian Fontes. I am the Democratic nominee for Arizona Secretary of State. I would absolutely love to have Field Team 6 out here helping me kick ass against these guys. And I know you guys are ready to jump in as well. So thank you so much, everybody. And I'm happy. I don't know if there's like time for questions or any of that stuff. I'm just ready to go out there and kick ass and see what's next.
I think that's perfect. Thank you so much, Adrian. Also, for those of you who want to hear more from Adrian, I actually interviewed him for my show this week, so that'll be coming out.
I didn't know I could plug you. I didn't know I could plug you. We did an interview, I think, just yesterday, Brian. I'm so excited about it. Check out his like webcast, podcast. I don't know, whatever it is. This guy's awesome, and I love the new setting behind him. It's kind of a Max Headroom kind of a thing. I love it.
That's it. Well, thank you to Adrian. Field Team 6 has had its biggest voter drives ever in Arizona before COVID hit. And true story, someone from Adrian Fontes' recorder office even thanked Jason and a group of volunteers for registering voters during a drive at a Phoenix courthouse. So it just makes sense now to meet one of Field Team 6's biggest champions of in-person voter drives, the relentlessly positive, positively irreplaceable Judy Shatkin.
I'm Judy Shatkin, and I live in the suburbs of Chicago in Lake County, which is very close to Wisconsin.
Judy is an accomplished jazz pianist, a medical doctor, a meditator, a Whole Foods plant-based eater, and now a super volunteer for Field Team 6, registering Democrats in the vital swing state of Wisconsin.
I am registering people at this school fair in honor of Father's Day. I live so close to Wisconsin, so I go every weekday now to Milwaukee to register voters. It is just over an hour drive to get to Milwaukee, but I care about our country and democracy, and I want democracy to exist.
Before 2020, Judy was not politically active, but the creeping authoritarianism of the Republican Party, as well as the Black Lives Matter protests of that summer, spurred her to get involved.
But I realized that I can't do this alone. Like, I need to have a team. Like, I need to, help recruit more people.
Hi, this is Judy, and I just went to the Pick and Save in Milwaukee and trained 3 volunteers.
I'm just hoping that my presence at the training, since I'm local, is, helps people to take that next step, beyond just, watching and listening.
Thank you, Judy, for registering Democrats to save the world and for inspiring others to do the same.
I'm just trying to do my best to get people registered so that people can decide their futures instead of corporations.
Thank you for holding the line in Wisconsin, Judy. And for our final 2 candidates, we're going back out to my home out here in California. Our first, Christy Smith, is running to flip one of the nation's most flippable districts, California's 27th congressional district, just north of Los Angeles. As a truly effective state legislator, Christy Smith authored 9 bills focusing on education reform, homeowner protections, college affordability, and good governance, all of which were signed into law by Gavin Newsom. She's running against Republican Mike Garcia, who voted to overturn the 2020 election results. That was after just barely winning his district by only 333 votes. That could be the difference between a Democratic House and a Republican House after November, if you ever needed a reminder about how important your vote is. Campaign conflicts didn't allow Christy to be here tonight, but she graciously sent a video, so let's hear from Christy Smith.
Hi, Field Team 6. So sorry that I couldn't be with you tonight. I am traveling up in the Sacramento area for a meeting, but just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the work that you do. We knew, sadly, from my last result in 2020 that the ground game really makes all the difference in the world. 333 votes was less than 1 voter per precinct in this contest. And so the fact that we're able to be together again, to be knocking on people's doors, to be doing the hard work of grassroots activism with you guys as part of our big team, we know we're going going to flip this seat this cycle. So again, my tremendous thanks to all of you. I so appreciate your support, your partnership, your love, your kind words, and look forward to bringing this home and celebrating with you in November. Take care.
Thank you, Christy Smith. And by the way, for all of those Californians and Angelinos watching and wondering how they can be helpful in that liberal bastion of the state, Christy Smith is the person to help, again, just north of Los Angeles. And now our final candidate, Will Rollins, who is running for Congress in California's 41st Congressional District. He is a national security and terrorism prosecutor who knows the stakes couldn't be higher in this election. He's campaigning on creating a modern fairness doctrine in media, reforming our criminal justice system, expanding access to healthcare, and growing our economy. He's running against Ken Calvert, a Trump Republican who, of course, embraced the big lie. Please welcome Will Rollins.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Field Team 6. Incredibly honored to be with all of you. Incredibly grateful for all of the help that so many of you have already given to my campaign. As you can see, I am campaigning very hard. I have my entire wardrobe directly behind me in this car. So that tells you that I'm on the road. And I just want to say, you know, I spent the last 5 years as a federal prosecutor, and I entered this race because I believe my opponent is a threat to our democracy. Ken Calvert, like so many others we've talked about tonight, voted to overturn the last presidential election. I helped prosecute some of the people in Southern California who attacked the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. And I did not want to look back on my life and regret not stepping up when our country needed us most. And, you know, as Brian mentioned, I worked in national security, and I originally wanted to do that because of September 11th. So when I was a junior in high school, I walked into my first class of the day, which was Model UN. So that tells you how popular I was. But it was zero period, which is about 6:50 in the morning. And we saw the North Tower of the World Trade Center collapse on TV. And like so many of us, I immediately wanted to enlist in the military. But in my case, you know, there's a big problem. I was a closeted gay kid, still against the law to serve openly in the military. So I knew I'd have to find a different path to service. Went to Dartmouth, took Arabic, thought about joining the CIA, really sucked at Arabic. That's a tough language. So that was not going to be my path. Made it to Columbia Law School and then clerked for a couple of judges and got hired into the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Central District of California, where I got to specialize in counterterrorism and counterintelligence. And I absolutely loved being a part of the team that helps protect our country from threats we face from Russia, China, Iran, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. But I was hired in the Obama administration. And what happened after 2016 when Trump was elected? Huge rise in the threats from domestic extremism. So whether it was the neo-Nazis who attacked Charlottesville or QAnon conspiracy theorists going after U.S. Navy hospital ships because they thought COVID was part of a government conspiracy, and then January 6th. And it was the images from that day that got me into this race. And with your help, we will absolutely flip this seat. For those of you who don't know, California 41 went from a Trump +7 to a toss-up. This year, thanks to redistricting, Democrats actually now outnumber registered Republicans. The new district includes Palm Springs. When I'm elected, I will be just the second openly gay guy in the House from California. The midterms are about turnout. I'm the first Democrat in history to challenge Ken Calvert with any law enforcement or national security experience. And I was incredibly grateful to be added to the red to blue list by the DCCC recently. We've set all kinds of fundraising records against Calvert. Going back all the way to 1992, and the support from our grassroots organizations and groups like Field Team 6 has just been incredible. So I want to say thank you again, and I am absolutely looking forward to making sure that the people who enabled the attack on the U.S. Capitol no longer work inside that building this fall. So thank you, everybody, and really looking forward to meeting a lot of you in person.
Just restores my faith in humanity that we have candidates as qualified as Will. So again, thank you so much, Will Rollins, and a huge thank you to all of the amazing candidates. Thank you for stepping up to fight in the most important battle of our lifetimes.
Yes, thank you all. And thank you, Brian, for being our amazing, hilarious host. You're wonderful. I also want to thank our volunteer staff, including the events team for running this call, the amazing Mervis Reisig, who contacted every candidate in the country, I believe, maybe other countries as well, the incredible Jeff Seeloff for creating all these volunteer videos that are beautiful and make me tear up. And thank you to all the volunteer heroes on this call. We are nothing without you. You are the ones who are doing the work that will get all the wonderful, inspiring people we just heard from elected across the country. If anyone on this call would like to help Field Team 6 further to get these champions elected, go to fieldteam6.org and sign up for an event now under volunteer opportunities or donate. That also helps immensely. You can do both of those things at fieldteam6.org, which we'll drop in the chat if we haven't already. And it costs us about $1.50 to help register every new Democratic voter. So let's keep going. Let's win these midterms. It is absolutely within reach. We saw that in Kansas, winning by 20 points as we beat that attempt to strip abortion rights from the state amendment, so the state constitution. We can do that nationally. So keep going.
Yes, I completely second everything you say. If you're wondering when the best time to join this fight is, it is now. Not in November, not in October, but today. So please, please, please continue to do what you're doing. Volunteer, donate, because we need everyone in this fight. And to the people listening right now, I just want to extend a special thank you, because so much of what I do is just trying to get people involved and engaged. And so all of you people who, are taking time out of your busy schedules to be here and to be part of this fight, I mean, you are what makes this entire train run. So thank you, thank you, thank you. If everyone was like you, then we would, we wouldn't have any issues in this country. So thank you for being an inspiration, both to, to everybody out there and also to myself. On a personal note, if you want to stay up on the latest progressive developments, sign up for my podcast. It's called No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel. We're going to drop those links in the chat right now as well. So from Field Team 6 and from me, thank you all for doing the work that turns passion into results. Now let's go with the midterms. Thank you, everyone, and have a really great night.
Yeah. Amazing.